We're going to bring in Mary Kay after a quick word from Amazon Fire TV. Did you know your Fire TV is also an Xbox? You can turn any TV into a gaming and entertainment hub with Fire TV Stick 4K devices. No console required. Just grab your paired controller, subscribe, or sign into Xbox Game Pass Ultimate with EA Play included, and you're ready to play. You can dive into hundreds of premium titles as easily as you stream your favorite shows. It is gaming made simple, and it's all on your Fire TV. Head to Amazon.com/Fire TV. Locked on to get started. Xbox Game Pass Ultimate subscription and compatible controller required. Available on select devices, including the Fire TV Stick 4K, Fire TV Stick 4K Max, and Fire TV Cube 3rd Gen. And with that, we are thrilled to welcome in Mary Kay Cabot to the show. How you doing today, Mary Kay?
I'm doing great, guys. How you doing?
Good. I got to ask the first question, Mary Kay. Listen, apparently you were on the radio, and my wife's an avid listener of all of your interviews. I don't know where she finds them, but she said, I heard Mary Kay on. I said, yeah, that's great. I said, what'd she say? I need you to ask her a question. She said Kenny Pickett start. I like Flacco. Why will Flacco not start? Apparently, she's spooked thinking that Kenny Pickett is going to start. And I said, well, I mean, they are having a quarterback competition. Can you quelch any of the doubts that Joe Flacco will be a starter, because she's nervous now?
Well, yes, I was asked that on the radio, and my answer was who I thought, would be the starter on opening day. I said Kenny Pickett over Joe Flacco. And the reason why I said that is because I have been listening to the Browns talk about Kenny Pickett all offseason, and they are really high on Kenny Pickett. And one of the things that they really like about Kenny Pickett is that generally he doesn't turn the ball over a ton. I think they look at him as a player who came out of somewhat of a dysfunctional offensive situation in Pittsburgh, where his offensive coordinator got fired in his second season. He had some mercurial wide receivers that he had to deal with there. I think they're looking at Kenny Pickett as a player who can come in here and have some of the same kind of success, maybe not quite as much, but that some of these other quarterbacks have had in their second and third chances. I'm talking about the Sam Darnolds, the Geno Smiths, the Baker Mayfields, the Jared Goffs of the world. Not that Kenny Pickett is going to rise necessarily to those heights, but I think the Browns are looking at him as a player with some good upside potential, that if you get him in a good environment, in a good situation, and surround him with some talent, that he just might take off a little bit.
Yeah, I guess anything's possible, Mary Kay. I know Aditi Kinkhabwala likes him as well, so she's always trying to talk me into him. I don't buy the hype. You're right. I don't feel like Baker and Jared Goff are in the same group, because they had success in their first stops to some degree. But Darnold and Geno, yeah, they had done nothing until Geno went to Seattle and Darnold last year with Minnesota. So anything's possible. I hadn't really, once they signed Flacco, I really didn't even consider the possibility that Pickett would start. But I listen, Flacco is 40 years old, and just because the fans were excited about him, you're right, doesn't mean it's a short thing. Do you believe that there will be an open competition between those two, and maybe even whoever they draft?
Absolutely, 100%. I believe there will be an open competition in camp. I don't, by any stretch of the imagination, think that when they signed Joe Flacco, they told him he was the starting quarterback for this football team. I think they told him the same thing that they told Kenny Pickett, that he'll have a chance to come in here and compete for that starting job, and it's going to be let the best man win. And I think that will bring out the best in everyone. Now, Joe Flacco, of course, has had tremendous success here. He knows the personnel, he knows the terminology, he knows the coaches, he knows the scheme. And so he probably will have somewhat of an edge, but I just don't think you can count out Kenny Pickett based on what I've heard the Browns say about him this offseason and how they feel about him.
Mary Kay, obviously you're the quarterback guru when it comes to drafting them. Who have you decided is the best quarterback in this draft? And should the Browns consider it at 2 instead of a Travis Hunter or Abdul Carter?
Well, I'll tell you what, the more due diligence I've done just over the past even week or so, we know that Cam Ward's going to be gone. We know the Browns have somewhat pivoted away from Shedeur Sanders unless they can possibly get him somewhere later at not too great a cost. But I've been doing even more homework lately on Jalen Milroe. I wrote a column yesterday saying that they should be aggressive in their pursuit to move up in the first round and draft Jalen Milroe. And here's why I say that. Okay, we can look at Jalen at Alabama and find some things that didn't go well. We can find some flaws. 40, and you couple that with the arm strength that he has, really tremendous arm strength. He's a big player. When you look at even a Josh Allen, I think he ran something like I can't remember what it was in the 40, but it certainly wasn't anywhere near a 4.37. And you see what he's doing in the NFL right now, just in terms of running around, making plays, and scoring the football. So I just think there's something from a traits standpoint that really intrigues me about Jalen Milroe. And I think he's worth taking a chance on. I would give up some draft picks to get him. I mean, what would be so bad about giving up your 33 to move up to get him this year, a second round pick next year, and then something else? The question would be, how high do you have to go to get him? Because I'm sure I'm not the only one seeing these tantalizing skills.
You know, it's interesting that you talk about the physical traits with the arm strength and the leg speed and all of those things. They said the same thing about Anthony Richardson. What makes him different?
Well, you can definitely take a swing and have another miss on a player like this. But I think it's worth the swing because these athletic, off-schedule quarterbacks are the ones that are the wave of the present and the future. That's why you saw so many quarterbacks go in the first round last year. That's why you're seeing more and more quarterbacks climb into the first round, even though it seemed like perhaps they didn't belong there. I just think it's worth taking a chance. I can't say for sure that I know that he will be successful, that he won't be the next Anthony Richardson, which, by the way, we don't know what the upside yet for Anthony Richardson is going to be. Maybe he still will become everything the Colts hoped that he would be. But I think it's worth a chance. And I think the upside is so great that even if you fail at it, that's okay. I don't think you should live in your fears when the cost isn't that great. Cost isn't tremendous from a financial standpoint. It's not tremendous from a draft pick standpoint, and I think it's worth the chance.
Mary Kay, we talked about Travis Hunter. A lot of people think that's going to be the pick. Can you tell us why people who are a little skeptical with the Browns being able to get the most out of their playmakers? There have been people that have been frustrated with the way Odell and Jarvis were used, or Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt were used. It just seemed like, hey, heck, they couldn't, if you leave it to Jadeveon Clowney, he tells you they couldn't get him on the field and get pass rush opportunities. What makes you feel that if they take Travis Hunter, the Cleveland Browns organization will find a way to incorporate him offensively and defensively to maximize his production?
Well, first of all, it's largely a new offensive staff at the top of that side of the ball. So you've got a new offensive coordinator in Tommy Rees. You've got a new quarterbacks coach in Billy Musgrave. So there's a different look. You've got a new offensive line coach. Everything is pretty much different on offense once again. And so I think that's why you can look at this and say you can't judge them on what they've done in the past. And then from the defensive standpoint, they would already know what to do with a cornerback like that. Jim Schwartz, I'm sure, would be amazing at deploying a Travis Hunter on that side of the ball. So it would just be a matter of what they do with him on offense. And I think it's pretty obvious how you would need to use him there. I think there would be so many different things you could do with him on the offensive side of the ball. So I don't think it would be an issue. And I don't think that this current offensive staff should be judged for the sins of some of the past.
Mary Kay, are you 100% convinced it's going to be Hunter at 2 or not quite?
Not 100% convinced. Yeah. Not 100% convinced. No, okay. I think that anything can still happen in this draft. And I think we just have to kind of sit tight and sort of see what happens. I think it's trending that way. Yeah. And if I had to make my mock draft today, that's who I would put there. But I can't say that I'm 100% certain that will happen.
I'm curious, the Browns in recent years, including Watson and Hunt and a number of other guys, draft picks the last few years, they have seemed unconcerned about character flaws and off the field stuff in recent years. It hasn't seemed to be a priority for them at all. And we've all used the line, you can't have 53 choir boys. We get it. However, if you did draft Travis Hunter and Jalen Milroe, not only are you getting two incredible athletes, in Hunter's case, what seems like a short thing, incredible player, Milroe we'll see, but apparently, by all accounts, you're getting two A-plus level human beings, high character, leaders, something this team is clearly lacking, smart guys. I could go on and on about how good people they are. I obviously don't know them personally, but everything you've heard. So do you think that matters to them at all? I mean, I know you're not going to just draft a guy for that reason, but I think it's good for the team not only to get great players, but also guys you can root for more because they're high character people. Do you think that matters to the Browns at all?
I think it does. I think it matters. I mean, they will take chances on guys that aren't perfect prospects. We've seen that. But usually when they do that, they try to make sure that it's a good person who made a mistake instead of a not so good person who made a mistake. And I think that's the big difference. Now, in terms of these two guys, they have impeccable character. These are great guys. I've gotten to know both of them a little bit during this pre-draft process. I spent some time with Jalen Milroe at the Senior Bowl. I talked to him a fair amount. He's a great guy, great personality. Browns fans would absolutely love him. Travis Hunter, haven't talked to him quite as much because when I went out to the Colorado Showcase a couple of weeks ago, he decided not to do the media scrum that day. He just opted not to do it. He wasn't even necessarily going to, so he decided to do so the day before. He doesn't really absolutely 100% love to do all of the media stuff, so that's something he's going to have to get used to. But I did watch him. Anytime a young person walked up to him with a football that day, he eagerly signed that football and spent time with those kids. So you can pick up clues to a person's character even if they're not sitting at the mic.
Very true.
Mary Kay, Daniel Jeremiah has been making the media rounds lately, and he said that he's heard the Browns plan to basically have Travis Hunter major on offense and minor on defense. From your preliminary discussions with Cleveland about Travis Hunter, do you get that as the sense as well of how Cleveland plans to utilize him if he is the pick at number 2?
Well, I think Andrew Berry has told us as much. Even at his pre-draft press conference last week, he said the same thing. He still believes that Travis is primarily a receiver for them and then a cornerback number 2. So I do think that that's what they would have in mind, but I'm sure they'll be ready to pivot. You need to get the player into the building. You need to see what he can handle. You need to put a lot on his plate and see how he assimilates the information and how fast he can get out there and play against a higher level of talent where everyone's going to be bigger and faster. So I think a lot of it will depend on Travis and how he comes along.
Mary Kay, assuming that DeJuan Jones, obviously he had the knee injury at the end of the year. Is he going to be ready? Will he be ready for the start of the season? And obviously we seen what happened with Jed Wills. Obviously he had a little knee scope and he missed like the first 4 weeks. If DeJuan isn't ready to go, what do they do at left tackle?
Well, DeJuan was coming off of a knee injury last year and struggled with that, and then he broke his fibula towards the end of the season. So he had a broken leg there at the end of the season. And so that's basically what kind of has been going on with him. But he should be ready to go. He's in there every day rehabbing, getting better, getting healthier. And I do think it's a situation where I think that we will see him some during the OTAs. And he should be ready to go for training camp. And it's just a matter of him staying healthy. That's the whole key with him.
By the way, it reminds me, Jed Wills is still a free agent, right?
Yes.
Nobody has signed him. Interesting.
No.
So I want to get 2 things. Mike Hall Jr., where is he at in his rehab process? And any word on Nick Chubb?
Mike Hall is making good progress, and I think he should be ready by training camp as well. So, yeah, he's coming along very, very well from what we've heard. And then Nick Chubb, I've been saying this lately. Now, I did write at the beginning of free agency that I thought it was the end of the Nick Chubb era because I thought that once he hit the market, that somebody else would take a chance on him. I thought somebody would sign Nick Chubb because that's what I think of Nick Chubb as a player who would be in demand in a situation like that. But because he hasn't signed elsewhere, I think it increases the chances that he will end up here. And I think after the draft that they probably will re-sign Nick.
Awesome.
That would be cool.
That would be awesome.
Fans would like that, certainly. Thanks, Mary Kay, as always. Great job. Enjoy the draft Thursday. We'll talk to you again soon.
Appreciate it.
Sounds good. Thanks, guys.
Yeah.